Shalom, this is Apostle Rakah, back again with another impromptu video. I say Barakatah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. The water Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Shalom to all you sincere brothers that are hopeful elect. And anyways, man, like, always, man, I don't really have a set title for this video, but I know what I want to talk about. And I'm going to start this video off again with quoting one particular scripture. This is why what's got to happen has got to fucking happen, man. This America, this kingdom, remember that place, the scripture in Revelations talk about, man, that great kingdom known as Sodom and Egypt, Babylon the Great. This place is, man, and you know why. And it all goes back to these devils, the elites. That's what the scripture, what is it, in Psalms, hide me from the secret counsel in Psalms, from the incredulity of the workers of iniquity. It's talking about these elites, man, these elites, these wicked elites, these small hats, the Illuminati. And then here it is now, the Spirit of the Lord is working. The Lord got a spirit out here, man, to where Jake, right, the 2/3 of Israel, they're gone. They're bugged out. But in the same note, there's a small minority of, I'm talking about niggas in the world. Some of these influencers, some of these dudes, these jakes, but who knows? Some of them might be of the elect. Because I was watching a video earlier with this jake, and I want to quote that scripture once again, Amos 9:8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob. One of my favorite scriptures. But that's the scripture, man. The Lord is watching this wicked, evil kingdom. America has to go, primarily. All these other kingdoms going to have to go too. Esau going to lose his power seat in the earth. But this place, it goes back to these elites. That's why I quoted that scripture in Psalms. The secret counsel is privately do they shoot at me. There's these psyops. They shooting at the perfect. The perfect is Israel. Even the 2/3 of Israel that's in the world, they going off right now. They got demons on them right now, right? But they're still the perfect, because in the kingdom, they're going to die on this side, but they're going to come back in the reincarnation. They're going to come back perfect. The Lord going to have, the Bible do say, in the end, all Israel shall be saved. So even Big Shirley, Keisha, Pookie, Ray Ray, they got demons on them now. They're set up now as examples, but they're going to come back in the kingdom and they're going to be okay. They're going to have new bodies. Big Shirley ain't coming back as Big Shirley. On this side, they're going to die as Big Shirley. They're going to suffer. But in the kingdom, they're going to come back as beautiful, righteous Israelite women. But they're not right. They're not of the elect. So they were set up to play a certain part, just like Esau and all the other nations on this side. You see what I'm saying? You feel me? Even the 2/3 of Israel was set up to play their part. It's all about election. The scriptures talk about that, right? You see what I mean? But you got this devil, Barack Hussein Obama, the former president of the United States, which that was just a big joke and a psyop. And all them dumb especially Negroes and some of the other tribes too. Even certain Northern Kingdom backed him too, right? The Northern Kingdom even, right? You had Hispanics and Native Americans that voted for him, that supported him because they figured, yeah, fuck it, a black man being president, right? Maybe because the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they know that they're kinfolk. Even if they don't know, they know. I know that for a fact. Because even growing up, you be around so-called black people, they accept it. Like, there was always a little dissension and a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Dissension or animosity. But then on the same flip side of the coin, like the blacks and Hispanics, they lived in the ghetto together. So even though they so-called had their prejudices against each other and they didn't get along, but then on the same note, they did get along. Because there's a case-by-case thing. Not every single black or Hispanic was on that bullshit. You had blacks that was prejudiced against Hispanics. You had Hispanics prejudiced against blacks. But then, outside of that, there was like a kinship. they could relate to each other. Because if you was black, you go to a Hispanic person's house, you had a Hispanic, Puerto Rican or a Mexican friend, whatever. And you ate the food, you enjoyed the food, right? Like, damn, yo, this kind of remind me of what my grandmother make, right? But you eating pollo, right? Chicken with rice and beans. And then a Spanish dude will go to a black person's house, and they might be making chicken, fried chicken with the black eyed peas, and the black eyed peas is like beans. You're like, oh, that's kind of. You see, the tribes, they know that they're kinfolk, but it's just Esau perpetuating the hatred against the tribes, and that was a curse. So basically, and then nobody ever asked themselves, anywhere in America, whether you go to LA, certain areas are more separated, meaning, like I said, my brain, sometimes you can't remember certain words that you want to remember. Segregated. Okay, like if you go to Chicago, I'm going to get back to my original point, but I just want to make this point. If you go to Chicago, the first time I went to Chicago to visit the brothers in Chicago, they explained it, they was explaining the layout to me. South side of Chicago, or even maybe the west side of Chicago, that's the hood. I've been there. I've been all up and through Chicago, in the hood. I've been to the south side of Chicago. I've been to the west side of Chicago. That's predominantly Judah, southern kingdom, I mean. Okay, I've been through the rough hood areas of Chicago. I hung out in Chicago, okay? Chicago is more so segregated, right? And the brothers, and I saw it with my own eyes, like, you go to Chicago, Negroes predominantly fuck with Negroes, but then they got another part of town where the Puerto Ricans or the Mexicans are. It is a little somewhat segregated. But even in that, that's not every single person. It's not every single person. Because you will have Hispanics that fuck with blacks that fuck with Hispanics, even in Chicago. It's a case-by-case thing. You go to New York City. New York is a melting pot. New York City is not, as far as the tribes go, segregated like that. You see what I'm saying? New York City, man, whether you, the 5 boroughs, the Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, right? You see what I'm saying? Manhattan. And even I'm going to throw Long Island is not technically a borough, but it really is, in my opinion, Long Island. Certain parts of Long Island. You go to any fucking of those boroughs, right? Which, like I said, I lived in New York City for many years. I know technically Long Island is not considered a borough. It's not. But in my opinion, it is, right? Anyways, you go to the 5 boroughs. You go to, let's say Staten Island. You go to Staten Island, right? You know, Wu-Tang country, Shaolin. I know, I lived in Staten Island. You go to Staten Island, you're going to see Negroes, you're going to see Puerto Ricans, you're going to see some Mexicans, and you're even going to see them other tribes, Northern Kingdom tribes, you know, Ecuadorians, you know what I mean? Anywhere in New York City, you're going to see Ecuadorians, you're going to see El Salvadorians, you know what I'm saying? You're going to see Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Negroes, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Haitians. You're going to see all the tribes in New York City. So New York is a melting pot, no matter what borough you go to. You go to the Bronx, you're going to see Puerto Ricans. You go to Brooklyn, you're going to see Puerto Ricans. You go to Manhattan, you're going to see Puerto Ricans. Staten Island, okay? Queens, anywhere you go, you're going to see Negroes. You're going to see Jamaicans. All West End, you're going to see Jamaicans, Trinidadians, people from Barbados. Like, it's just all the tribes is there. And they cohabitate and they live amongst each other. You're going to, Dominicans. How could I forget Simeon? Dominicans all throughout New York City. You see what I'm saying? And guess what? Especially in the Bronx, certain areas, you're going to see Dominican or Spanish restaurants. You're going to see Mexican restaurants. You're going to see Peruvian restaurants. You're going to see Jamaican restaurants. And here and there, depending where you go, you'll see like so-called black like restaurants, like soul food joints. You see what I mean? So the tribes are all together. Not the way that you know, because that's all the scriptures. But this devil, the so-called white man, Esau, he don't like that. That's why he's collectively trying to destroy Israel. And it all starts with Judah, because Judah is the head tribe. Now the scriptures say, smite the shepherd and the sheep shall scatter. A shepherd is the one who keeps he's the one that keeps the flock together. So Judah, if the tribe of Judah is the head tribe, right? If they're the head tribe, the scripture said, Judah, who shall rouse him up? So these elites, these devils, these illuministic characters, they want to keep Judah as destroyed as they can. Because if the so-called Negroes were to actually come back together, like how they used to be, like back in the 60s and 70s, and really start standing up on their feet again, like a young, strong lion, all the other tribes will eventually fall into place, man. You see what I mean? Because all the other tribes, it's like a love-hate relationship. They hate Judah, but they love Judah, right? The Northern Kingdom, because basically they emulate and imitate what Judah does, right? The Puerto Rican, the Dominican, the Mexican, even the Native American, my tribe, right? Gad and Reuben. You got Gadites and Reubenites, especially the younger kids, is always like that. They walk around. I've been out in South Dakota. I've been on the reservation. I was out in a town called White Clay on the Pine Ridge Reservation, and there's a Gadite, young Gadite kid. He had a table set up. He was selling shit. I thought I was back in New York City for a minute. He was selling Tupac and Biggie t-shirts. He was selling New York fitted caps. He was selling fake gold bling. And this is in the middle of stuff. This is on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, the Oglala Lakota Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Yeah, and this is a full-blood Oglala kid, Lakota. And he was trying to talk with the New York lingo. And I was there, I told him, I said, hey man, I'm from New York too. I'm here from New York City, man. I mean, I'm originally from Florida, but anyways, I thought, yo, man. Yeah, he was trying to talk with a New York accent and all this shit. Yeah. So right then and there, it shows you that all the tribes emulate Judah. So the white man, the devil, Esau, knows that if he could destroy the tribe of Judah totally, then he figures all the other tribes, because these elites, they know that who we are. They know we the Israelites. So they got guys like Obama, which this other Jake I was watching on the social media, and the Jake had a big beard. He had, it was black and gray beard. He's one of them influencers, but he was coming through. He didn't say nothing wrong. I mean, he was claiming to be a Christian, and he was kind of saying, hey, God, but I'm a Jesus Christ. He ain't got the name, but who knows? He could be of the elect. Some of the elect are still out there. And when because the scriptures say, at the very end, you're going to have members of the elect coming in. And the scary part, we're going to have so-called brothers that's amongst us that might not be of the elect. They've been with us for years, and at this point now, you're going to have dudes flaking out. That we think is the elect, that's not. See, the Lord, he said, my thoughts are not your thoughts, and my ways are higher than your ways, thus saith the Lord. See what I'm saying? But Esau figures if he could destroy the tribe of Judah, then he could, because he's carnal. But they got this homo, Barack Obama, a recent interview he did, and it's all over the internet. It's all over social media. Obama, he wants to stay relevant, but they're using him as a psyop. You niggas thought Obama was the black messiah. Y'all thought he was Yahweh Shai when he got elected as president. Right? He did an interview with whoever, and I saw it this morning, and he said, yeah, he specifically singled out young black boys or young black men growing up. They don't really need a father. In other words, they don't need a real man in their life. They don't need their father in their life. And he told a story of himself. He had a college professor that was gay, and that professor who was homosexual was a big impression on his life. We know, because Barack Obama's a homosexual. But anyways, he said young boys young black boys should have a so-called gay man in their life as a mentor. You see? They don't need a real rough, masculine man in their life. They don't need their own fathers. They need a mentor who's a homosexual. Right? That's what Obama is pushing. All you women that have young black sons, right? Or any man, you should, the mentor of your son should be a homosexual man. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So what is that telling you right there? This devil was on a mission to destroy masculinity. They want your sons to be mentored and raised by homosexuals, by sodomites, people with evil, foul spirits on them. So your sons can grow up to become homosexuals. So you're telling me that this devil's, and you know Esau's behind that, right? That's why I quoted that scripture in Psalms. They're shooting those arrows. They want to totally destroy Jake. They want these young Jakes to be fucking moles, man. You see what I mean? Because that's that perpetual hatred of Esau. They're trying to do away with Israel. But you got Jakes in the world that's clapping. Hey, I'm doing this video now, and I know other brothers are doing videos on this. But, yo, even these 2/3 niggas are clapping back at that. There's a small minority of even these influencer dudes, they clapping back. Hey, matter of fact, I was watching, you know me, I watch videos, man. There was certain black women it was like two so-called sisters that did video, meaning black women. One black woman, she was walking on the beach, it looked like she had to clap back. And there was another video of another black woman. So, hey, damn, man, hey, even certain black women are waking up. There's a small minority of black women that are waking up, man. That's just starting to realize shit like, nah, this ain't clicking, this ain't coming together. Damn, like, you know, because all these single black women, they always complaining they can't find a real man because all these niggas are gay, right? So there's even certain black women that have a small percentage of brains that say, wait a minute, it seemed to me like the government, these people are trying to make our men into all our men into homos and our women into lesbians, so we won't reproduce. That 1 + 1 = 2, right? 2 + 2 = 4, right? So at some point, mathematics gotta hit in your head like, wait a minute. Damn, like it seems like to me, these elites are trying to get all black and Hispanic, the Israelites, to be moles, man, and lesbians, so that way you won't reproduce. They're trying to send a population control, man. Because if you a homo, you ain't having no kids, bro. 2 men can't have a baby. 2 women can't have a baby. And people say, well, I know some lesbians that had kids. Yeah, because they got artificially, which that's wicked and foul and dirty and weirdo shit. Niggas love that. You weird, that's weird. That's goofy. That new slang that these niggas got. If you a woman and you want to get pregnant, you're supposed to get with a man. You're supposed to procreate with a man. Okay? Not no motherfucking, I got artificially inseminated. But guess what? You still need a man's sperm to be put in you to have a baby. I know people, I got family members like that. Right? You have to get artificially, basically they have to insert a man's sperm into your womb. So you still need some sperm from a man to have a baby. Not a woman. A woman don't produce sperm. Okay? Men produce sperm. So all this artificial insemination, yeah, okay, but that you still need a man's nutsack to get a baby. If you're a lesbian and you say, I want to have a baby, you still need a man. If there were no more men on the planet, then you couldn't get pregnant. You need a man's sperm to get pregnant. You see, but that's why I quoted Amos 9:8. The eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. This place got to go. And Barack Obama is a psyop. He was set up to destroy you. The Lord gonna destroy that demon, that Hamite. And he's not even a Jake, he's a Hamite. But with that, I'm gonna wrap it up. I pray I made the point. I say shalom to you brothers of the hopeful elect. Shalom.